Imagine sitting down for dinner, knowing that the meal in front of you contains a poison so potent, a single microscopic drop can end your life in minutes. There is no antidote. There is no cure. If the person who prepared your plate made even a single, millimeter-wide error with their knife, you will be dead before the night is over. Yet, people do not run away from this danger. They line up for it. They pay hundreds of dollars for a single, paper-thin slice. They travel across continents just to place this threat on their tongues. Every year, despite the warnings, the laws, and the tragic body count, people still risk everything for a single bite. This is the story of Fugu, the pufferfish. It is not just a delicacy. It is a biological weapon that became one of the most controversial and highly regulated foods in human history. For thousands of years, humans have engaged in a deadly dance with this creature, balancing the boundary between culinary art and sudden death. This is the history of the world's most dangerous meal. To understand the legend of the fugu, we must first understand the weapon it carries. The pufferfish is slow, clumsy, and lacks the speed to escape predators. To survive in a hostile ocean, evolution did not give it speed or sharp teeth. It gave it a chemical defense system that is almost unmatched in the natural world. Inside the liver, ovaries, skin, and intestines of the fugu lies a substance called tetrodotoxin. Tetrodotoxin is a neurotoxin of terrifying efficiency. It is roughly 1,200 times more poisonous than cyanide. A single adult pufferfish contains enough of this compound to stop the hearts of 30 healthy human beings. It does not look like poison, it does not smell like poison, and it does not taste like poison. But what makes tetrodotoxin truly insidious is its resilience. If you are served spoiled meat, you might hope that boiling or frying it will kill the bacteria. With fugu, heat does nothing. You cannot cook the poison out. You cannot freeze it away. You cannot neutralize it with acid or wash it off with water. The toxin is bound to the very cells of the fish's organs. The only way to make the fugu safe is through surgical precision. The toxic organs must be removed entirely, without being punctured, torn, or allowed to brush against the edible flesh. If the chef's hand shakes for a fraction of a second, if the blade slice is even slightly off target, the toxin will bleed into the meat. The moment that happens, the dinner transitions from a culinary luxury into a fatal mistake. Humans did not discover fugu in modern high-end restaurants. Our fascination with this deadly fish goes back to the very dawn of East Asian civilization. Archaeologists excavating shell mounds along the coasts of Japan, dating back to the Jomon period over 2,300 years ago, made a bizarre discovery. Mixed in with the ancient garbage, tools, and shells were the unmistakable, spiny bones of the pufferfish. Even before humans had writing systems, metal tools, or organized agriculture, they were already diving into the sea, catching this lethal fish, and trying to eat it. How many ancient humans died to figure out which parts of the fish were safe? We will never know. The early history of fugu is written in silent tragedy. For generations, the knowledge of how to prepare the fish was passed down as a dark family secret, a set of verbal warnings whispered from parent to child. As Japan grew into an organized society, the body count became too high for governments to ignore. During the late 16th century, the legendary warlord Toyotomi Hideyoshi was preparing a massive military campaign. As his army gathered in the southern ports, soldiers discovered the local pufferfish. They caught them, cooked them, and died by the dozens. Hideyoshi, furious that his soldiers were dying from eating fish rather than fighting battles, issued a total ban on fugu. This ban was enforced strictly during the Tokugawa shogunate, the military government that ruled Japan for 250 years. To the samurai class, honor was everything. A samurai was expected to die on the battlefield, sword in hand, defending his lord. To die writhing on a tatami mat because you wanted to eat a tasty fish was considered the ultimate shame. If a samurai died of fugu poisoning, his estate was confiscated, his family was disgraced, and his name was erased from the military registers. Yet, the ban did not stop people from eating it. It simply pushed the fugu underground. In the coastal villages of western Japan, locals continued to catch and cook the fish in secret. They developed slang names for it to hide their activities from government inspectors. They called it the gun, because eating it was like playing Russian roulette. You never knew if the next chamber was loaded. What actually happens to the human body when the fugu's defense mechanism is triggered? The process is a slow, terrifying descent into complete physical imprisonment. Tetrodotoxin works by blocking the sodium channels on the surface of nerve cells. These channels are the gates that allow electrical signals to travel from your brain to your muscles. When the gates are locked, communication stops. Your brain sends the command to move, but the muscles never receive the message. The timeline is deceptively quiet. Within 10 to 20 minutes of consuming contaminated fugu flesh, the first symptom appears. It starts as a mild, strange tingling on the lips and the tip of the tongue. It feels almost like carbonation, a buzzing sensation that many diners mistake for a culinary feature. Then, the numbness spreads. It moves down the throat, making it difficult to swallow. The fingers and toes begin to lose sensation, turning cold and unresponsive. Within an hour, the voice begins to slur. The muscles in the face drop, and the eyes become fixed. The paralysis slowly creeps down the limbs, locking the arms and legs in place. Eventually, the respiratory muscles, the diaphragm and the chest muscles that pull air into your lungs, shut down. The victim can no longer breathe on their own. But the most horrific aspect of tetrodotoxin poisoning is what it does not do. It does not affect the brain. The toxin cannot cross the blood-brain barrier. This means that throughout the entire process, as your body turns to stone, you remain fully conscious. You can see the panic in the room. You can hear the voices of the people around you. You can think clearly. You are completely awake, trapped inside a body that has refused to obey a single command. You die of suffocation, fully aware of your own demise. And because there is no antidote, medical science can only watch. If a victim makes it to a hospital, the only treatment is to hook them up to a mechanical ventilator and keep their heart beating artificially, hoping that the kidneys can filter the toxin out of the blood before the brain suffers permanent oxygen deprivation. If they survive the first 24 hours, the paralysis slowly recedes, leaving the victim physically unharmed, but psychologically scarred forever. The modern era of fugu began with a political pivot. In the late 19th century, the Prime Minister of Japan, Ito Hirobumi, visited a famous restaurant in the city of Shimonoseki. The owner, desperate to impress the Prime Minister during a season of poor fishing, broke the law and served him fugu. Hirobumi was so astonished by the exquisite taste and texture of the fish that he declared the ancient bans absurd. He ordered the local authorities to lift the restrictions, allowing the fish to be sold legally, provided it was prepared by individuals who knew what they were doing. This decision birthed the modern system of fugu licensing, one of the most demanding culinary certifications in the world. To become a licensed fugu chef in Japan, an apprentice must spend years working under a master. They do not touch the fish for the first 2 years, they wash dishes, clean the kitchen, and observe the angles of the master's knife. The licensing exam is legendary for its difficulty. The practical portion of the test gives the applicant 20 minutes to clean a whole, raw pufferfish, categorize every organ into safe and toxic containers, skin the fish, and slice the flesh into translucent, paper-thin sashimi slices. The examiners inspect the work area with magnifying glasses. If there is a single drop of blood left on the flesh, if a toxic kidney is placed in the wrong tray, or if the prep time takes 21 minutes instead of 20, the applicant fails instantly. The pass rate for this exam rarely rises above 35%. Through this rigorous gatekeeping, the restaurant industry has made fugu remarkably safe. Today, eating fugu at a licensed establishment in Japan is safer than driving to the restaurant. The rare fatalities that occur today are almost exclusively the result of amateur fishermen who catch the fish and attempt to clean it at home without training. So why does this tradition persist? If the risk is so high, and the preparation so stressful, why does fugu remain a multi-million-dollar industry? The standard answer is the flavor. Fugu flesh is incredibly lean, clean, and possesses a subtle, clean sweetness that is highly prized in Japanese cuisine. It is served as yusazukuri, sliced so thin that the pattern of the plate beneath is visible through the meat. It is chewy, delicate, and unlike any other seafood. But there is a deeper, psychological truth that many diners are hesitant to admit. The appeal of fugu is not just the taste. It is the proximity to danger. When you sit down at a fugu table, you are placing your survival entirely in the hands of another human being. You are trusting that their training was perfect, their knife was sharp, and their mind was focused. Every bite is a reminder of human vulnerability, a conscious decision to dance on the edge of mortality for the sake of a sensory experience. In the end, the history of fugu is a testament to the strange nature of human desire. We are a species that will look at a toxic, spike-covered fish, see the warning signs, understand the body count, and still say, "Prepare the plate." We are drawn to the forbidden, fascinated by the dangerous, and always willing to pay a premium for the thrill of surviving the meal.